Boxing fans, let's take a look at the destructive power of Errol Spence Jr. Errol Spence Jr. started his boxing pro debut last November 9, 2012 as he faced Jonathan Garcia. Spence Jr. started attacking the body that hurt Jonathan Garcia. In the third round, Spence Jr. continued hitting the body and attacking the head. Under 1 minute, Spence throwing the uppercuts and then the right hook that dropped Garcia. Garcia able to get up after the knockdown, but Spence continued the punishment and referee stopped the fight. On April 11, 2015, the 16th fight of Errol Spence Jr. faced Samuel Vargas with a record of 21 wins and only 1 loss. In second round, Spence hit 3 combos on the head to drop Vargas on the canvas. Through it all, Spence displayed both power and poise, methodically picking Vargas apart and battering him with some wince-inducing body shots to the ribs. Come round 4, the referee had seen enough, stopping the fight. On his 17th fight, Errol Spence Jr. faced Phil Lo Greco with 26 wins and only 1 loss. Phil Lo Greco came to play early, unleashing flurries to the body on Errol Spence Jr., but Spence shook him off and decided he had nothing to fear. He came off the leash in the second and punished Lo Greco with several hard body shots that slowed the Canadian brawler. Spence wasted no time in the third, dropping Lo Greco with a bomb of a right hand to the side of the head 35 seconds into the round. An overwhelmed Lo Greco couldn't outlast the bell. Spence pinned Lo Greco on the ropes, firing at will, forcing referee Robert Bird to stop the fight with 1:10 remaining. On his 20th fight, Errol Spence Jr. faced Chris Algieri with 21 wins and only 2 losses. Formerly faced by 8 World Division champion Manny Pacquiao. By the third round, Algieri had swelling under his right eye, and Spence was all over him, driving him into the corner with hard shots. In the fourth round, Spence dropped Algieri with a left hand with about 2 minutes to go, and it appeared to be only a matter of time until he scored a knockout. That came in the fifth round, 2 knockdowns later. Spence smothered Algieri with fast punches and dropped him with a left hand. Algieri survived it but was hurt. Moments later, Spence destroyed him with a clean left hand that dropped him hard along the ropes. Algieri was done, and referee Benji Esteves did not bother to count. Instead, he waved off the fight at 48 seconds. Errol Spence Jr. did something Manny Pacquiao and Amir Khan failed to do against Chris Algieri. On May 27, 2017, Errol Spence Jr. got his shot at the IBF welterweight title to face the 31-year-old Kell Brook with 36 wins and only 1 loss. He was unbeaten at 147 pounds. The fight was close until the middle of the 7th when Spence landed a punch on Brook's right eye that caused swelling that would increase for the remainder of the rounds. Spence's consistent body attack also helped to drain the energy from Brook and ultimately shifted the edge in stamina in the new champion's favor. In the 10th round, Spence dropped Brook, but the Sheffield Fanatics willed Brook back into the fight somewhat, as he charged through the round looking to land big shots. But Brook had taken some real punishment for a few frames at that point, and in the 11th, Spence's attack was simply too much for him to weather any longer. He took the knee and the 10 count. Errol Spence Jr. got his first belt. On January 1, 2018, after his first belt, Errol Spence Jr. faced Lamont Peterson with 35 wins and only 3 losses to defend his IBF welterweight title. Peterson was dropped in round 5 from a left hand by Spence. Peterson beat the count and looked unsteady, surviving the round. Spence outboxed a tough Peterson from start to finish, showcasing a wide array of skills, speed and power. The fight was stopped prior to the start of the 8th round after Peterson's trainer, Barry Hunter, called for the stoppage. On June 6, 2018, Errol Spence Jr. faced the mandatory challenger unbeaten Carlos Ocampo with 22 wins for his second IBF defense. Ocampo came in as a huge underdog and Spence wasted little time showing his dominance. In the final seconds of the first round, Spence landed a clean, well-placed and nasty left hook to the body that crumpled the challenger. Ocampo fell to his knees as referee Lawrence Cole counted the 22-year-old Mexican out as he never made a definitive move to get to his feet.